The moment she walked into the café with a little girl on her hip, the air shifted, as if fate itself leaned forward to watch. Rain clung to the glass walls, the city blurred beyond them, and every step she took carried years of fear, hope, and quiet courage. This was not how blind dates were supposed to begin, yet this was how her life had learned to survive, honest, exposed, and brave enough to risk rejection one more time. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human hearts finding each other, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Soul Tale. Your support keeps stories like this alive. She had almost turned back at the door. Bringing her daughter felt like confessing a secret before even being asked, but babysitters had cancelled too many times, and life had taught her that hiding the truth only delayed pain. Her little girl rested against her shoulder, small fingers curling into the red fabric of her dress, eyes wide with innocent curiosity. The woman carried herself with practiced strength, the kind built from long nights and early mornings, from learning to smile through exhaustion. She had not been on a date in years, not since the promises she trusted dissolved into absence. The blind date invitation had arrived like a whisper of possibility, fragile but persistent, and she had decided that if she went, she would go as she was, no masks, no apologies. Across the table sat the man who was supposed to be just another stranger arranged by algorithms and well-meaning friends. He had arrived early, hands folded, gaze thoughtful rather than impatient. Life had carved its own lines into his face, the kind that came from responsibility rather than age. He, too, had rehearsed his expectations, imagining polite conversation and cautious interest. But when he looked up and saw her standing there with a child, time slowed, not with shock, but with recognition. Something in his chest tightened, not with fear, but with memory. The woman braced herself for the familiar shift she had seen too many times before, the quick scan, the silent calculation, the polite disappointment. She had learned to read it like weather. Men who vanished after learning she was a mother, who smiled kindly and never called back, who treated her child like a complication instead of a miracle. She prepared for that moment again, steadying her breath, reminding herself that rejection was survivable. But it did not come. Instead, his posture softened. His eyes did not flick away from the child or harden with judgment. They warmed, as if something deeply human had been awakened. He did not see an inconvenience, he saw a story he already knew. The café around them faded into a gentle hum as something unspoken passed between two people shaped by responsibility and loss. The man had not planned to share this part of himself so soon, but the presence of the child unlocked it anyway. He was a single father, though he did not wear the title loudly. His life revolved around packed lunches, bedtime routines, and the quiet ache of doing everything alone. He understood the weight she carried because he carried it too, the constant balancing act between love and survival, the fear of choosing wrong again, the silent hope that someone might see past the chaos and choose to stay. As they settled into the moment, the little girl shifted, studying the man with open curiosity, then smiled in the simple way children do when they feel safe. That smile landed somewhere deep inside him. He remembered his own child at that age, the way small gestures meant everything, the way presence mattered more than perfection. He did not reach out impulsively or try to impress. He simply stayed, fully, honestly present. Time moved differently after that. The woman felt her shoulders relax for the first time in years. She spoke about her life without trimming the edges, about the nights she cried quietly so her daughter would not hear, about the strength she found in morning light and small victories. There was no performance, no need to sell herself as carefree or uncomplicated. The man listened with attention that did not feel like pity. It felt like respect. He shared his own struggles through careful vulnerability, the kind born from knowing that love can leave scars and still be worth chasing. He had learned patience the hard way, learned that real connection does not arrive loudly. It arrives softly, like someone choosing to stay when it would be easier to leave. Around them, the café filled and emptied, cups replaced, rain easing into mist. Yet neither noticed. The blind date had quietly transformed into something else, a meeting of two lives that had already weathered storms and were no longer afraid of the rain. The woman realized, slowly, that she was no longer waiting for the moment to end. For once, she was not calculating how to explain her reality or preparing herself for goodbye. She felt seen, not as a burden, not as a risk, but as a whole person whose love came with depth and meaning. Her daughter laughed softly at something unseen, and that sound sealed something fragile and hopeful inside the room. When they finally stood to leave, there was no dramatic promise, no rushed declaration. There was simply an understanding, steady and sincere. The man did not hesitate. He did not retreat. His reaction, so calm and grounded, rewrote the story she had been telling herself for years, that her life was too complicated to be loved. Outside, the city lights shimmered against wet pavement, and the air felt clean, as if the world itself had taken a deep breath. The woman walked away feeling lighter, carrying not just her child, but a new possibility. The man watched them go with a quiet certainty that this meeting was not an accident. Sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is show up as they are. Sometimes, the kindest thing another can do is stay. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love can arrive gently and change everything, please take a moment to like, share, and engage with this video. Your support helps stories like this reach others who need hope. Before the ending, we have one special request. Please comment below and share what this story made you feel or what moment stayed with you the most. Because somewhere, right now, someone is standing at the edge of courage, wondering if honesty is worth the risk. And sometimes, all it takes is one unexpected reaction to turn a blind date into the beginning of everything.